One of the biggest changes to humanity in 2023 was the implementation of AI into our day-to-day lives. It could help you with exams, with code, and hell, it can even write the script for you. So I thought to myself, what if I use this incredible piece of tech to guide me through my personal favorite implementation in 2023, Lies of P. The problem is that ChatGPT has no idea what Lies of P is, since it's trained on information up until 2022. So it's like you're asking someone for a pie recipe, but he has no idea what food is. That might deter the average man from such a challenge, but I say, let's see what an AI can do if we let it loose. The rules of this run are very simple. ChatGPT will be in charge of every single decision we make in the game. From what levels we get, which weapons do we use, what P organs we are going to unlock, and what decisions we're going to make throughout the game that impact the story. Luckily, ChatGPT is the perfect candidate to roleplay as a sentient puppet who's just looking to become a human. We start off the run by informing ChatGPT of what we're going to be doing. Luckily, Chatty decides to help us. We wake up at the train station, pick up Gemini, and get prepared for the first decision for ChatGPT to make in this run. I informed ChatGPT about all the starting classes and weapons we can choose from, but I accidentally confused between the Path of the Cricket and the Path of the Bastard. Ultimately though, Chatty decides to go for the Path of the Bastard, choosing a dex-focused beginning of the game for us, and with our brand new rapier, we head into Krat Central Station. Our next target is the guard in the station, who holds the key that we need to unlock the doors. Now, if you don't know, the white bar means that if we hit it with a charged attack, it's going to stagger, and as you can see now, we can hit it with a repose. Basically just like Elden Bling. With the key in hand, we can head out of the station into the plaza where we unlock the ability to level up. I gave Chatty a quick explanation about all the stats in the game and what they'll do, but I'm not sure he understood me because he didn't understand what motivity is and completely forgot about vitality, so that's good. Chatty decides that we should allocate points into technique and vigor and 1 point into advance that I should level up later because I'm broke. I make sure to loot all the stuff in the plaza before making it to the next Stargazer right outside of the first boss arena. It was time to call upon Chatty again. I explained to him about the next boss. We're going to be facing a monstrous puppet in hopes for his wisdom to guide me through the battle. And I'll spare you the tedious reading. He basically said get good and don't get hit. So with those words of encouragement and 1 more point in technique and vigor, by the way, yes, I completely forgot about that point in advance, we're making it to the first boss arena. The fight against the Parade Master is fairly simple. His attacks are really telegraphed and he gives you a lot of time to attack him in between his own attacks. The only annoying move he's got really is his belly flop, but once you get used to the timing, it's really not that bad. Below half HP, he decides to take a few seconds to contemplate his life decisions and decides to rip his own head off. That gives us some time to fist him in the back, and a few hits later, we down our first boss. This challenge might not be all that bad. With the Parade Master defeated, we're heading towards our central hub, Hotel Krat. At this point, it was time to introduce another key mechanic in the game to ChatGPT. One that every person who said they've never smelled their own farts knows: lying. I explained to Chatty what are the options put in front of us and what weight lying has on the course of the game. Chatty decides to opt into an honest playthrough, but in this case you have to lie in order to enter the hotel and continue the game. So yeah, I don't care what you say, Chatty. In the hotel, we meet Sophia and get instructed by ChatGPT to level capacity and advance. I pick up the puppet string, and Chatty decides that for now, that should be our Legion arm over the fist in hand. And with that, we head into Elysium Boulevard. Since this was only my second playthrough, I made sure to loot pretty much everything that I saw so I can get as many resources as possible. Quickly, we make it into the Mad Donkey fight, and I'm instructed by Chatty to fight him with the police baton we picked up a little bit earlier. Most of the NPCs in this game can be cheesed with backstab, so this fight goes by fairly quickly, and shortly after that we make it into the second boss. Before the fight, I explained to Chatty about specters because I only thought it would be appropriate for him to have the decision whether we should summon or not. For the Scrap Watchman fight, we had to use our rapier, and Chatty decides to not let us use the specter for this fight. Two decisions that are not the best for us, especially for a boss like the Scrap Watchman. Although he's only the second boss, he's probably the hardest and the best until Romeo. So it took me some time to get used to his timing again, especially his second phase attacks and this stupid grab. Slowly but surely I got accustomed to his moveset again, and after several tries, eventually I take down the Scrap Watchman as the words of Ice Cube vibrate in my brain. Puppet. Electric. Chatty decides to finally let me put some points into our health, and then I head into Geppetto to introduce the next big thing to Chatty: P organs. In Lies of P, you get a limited amount of an item called Quartz, which is used to unlock certain abilities for you in your game. Some of them are amazing, and some of them are completely garbage. Guess which ones we got this playthrough? To pick the P organs, I told Chatty to pick a number between 1 and 4, and through that, it will decide which P organs we get and what attributes we put on it. For our first P organ, Chatty lands on the Fable slot upgrade, which turned out to be very useful in this playthrough. Isn't AI amazing? Next up was Vanini's work. Right next to the puppet of the future, at the end of the sewer, lies in a box the booster glaive. This turned out to be my favorite weapon of this playthrough due to its beautiful gap closer on the charged attack. I made sure to give it some upgrades and visit Vanini to ensure he's okay before heading into our next fight with Fuoco. Chatty decides to let us use the Spectre for our first 3 rounds, but fortunately though, we only needed 2. One to remember the fight and the second to finish the kill. Normally I would consider this as kind of a shame since we really got to wash away the boss, but since Fuoco is one of my least favorite bosses, I would scratch that as a positive for the AI. Good job, Chatty. After saying hello to Punchinella, we start making our way to the Cathedral Chapel. The residents on the way there made sure to greet me properly, and I also got to meet this incredibly friendly cable car operator. We chased each other around a little bit before I plunged my weapon into her chest and bathed in her blood. I take the cable car, run past the infested people, and got to meet Giangio. He'll give us the cube which will become more handy later on in the game. The path to the fight with Andreas is probably my least favorite area in the game. Everything about this place is just there for you to fail, from the narrow rooftops to the projectile enemies that can knock you off at any moment. I spent a good 45 minutes and $500 in psychological therapy after dying in this place over and over again. But I made it through and reached the elevator to Alidoro. It was time for Chatty to guide us once again on what to do. But first, let's set the scene. Alidoro here says he's looking for a hiding spot away from all the monsters and puppets and asks us if we know of such a place. Chatty actually decides to lie to Alidoro because he understood how important it is for us to keep our hiding spot safe. So, with Chatty's instructions, I lied straight into Alidoro's face and sent him to Vanini's work. For the fight with Andreas, I got told to use the booster glaive along with the assistance of the Spectre for the first 3 attempts. I make sure to top off our stats, get a few more upgrades on our weapon before heading into the fight against the true god. Andreas to me is not a very difficult fight. Although he has some fairly unusual attacks, with the use of our Fire Grindstone and the Spectre, I managed to whittle down his health bar very quickly. On the second phase, all I really had to do was just rush to the second side of Andreas and repeat the process from phase 1. A few precise staggers afterwards, Andreas goes down fairly easily on the first try. God, I love the booster glaive. It was a nice rainy night, so I decided to take a stroll through the woods. I said hello to all the animals I met on the way, even the most unique and disformed ones. In the forest, I met this beautifully designed platforming section that's definitely not inspired by Bloodborne, and before I knew it, I was in Malum District. Inside the district, I said hello to the furry siblings who suggested they lend us a hand taking down the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. I let ChatGPT in on their plan and he naively agrees to their deal. They're talking about you, Chatty. The furries didn't last long and had to pull out early, so I had to take care of the other problems in the district, picking up the Patience Amulet and other stranded valuable items that were there just left around. Alright everyone, don't lie to me. This pulls up on you at 3 AM. What are you doing? Putting my personal favorite way of spending my Friday night aside, we made it into the fight with the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. Booster glaive once again because in the words of Chatty, it has a versatile moveset. How exactly would you know that? Lies of P unfortunately falls victim to the same thing as From Software games. Poor gang fight design. This fight has great potential because fighting the big brother is actually really fun, but the fact that his little brothers jump in, do 0 damage because they just have incredibly long attack strings that are designed to catch you mid-action, makes the boss fall short for me. I ended up dying here more times than I would like to admit, mostly because of the annoying sister, and although it was a real test to my patience, all it took was 1 run where I got good RNG with the brothers, and I finally managed to kill the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. Another boss down. So far, Chatty was not the most helpful companion, but I can guarantee he's trying his best. So when I asked him which Legion arm we should upgrade, I trusted him to give me the best option out of the selection. And although I was rather blind to the effectiveness of the Deus Ex Machina in the beginning, it actually turned out to be a fantastic pick for the rest of the run. This guy might actually be smart. Before heading into Rosa Isabel Street, I upgraded my doll a few more times and got rejected by the hotel cat. There are 3 main things for us to worry about here: the White Lady, helping out Julian, and the fat clown puppet. So let's tackle our first problem. The fight against the white lady consists of the two following ingredients: dodge to either side and get the backstab. Now it might sound easy, but her speed and her annoying spam nature can definitely catch you off guard, so I did take a few deaths to the white lady. But after 5 tries later, I put on my Bob Ross costume and painted the white lady red. Bitch, I said what I said. Next up, helping Julian. Our main man Julian got caught in quite a bad predicament. He's searching for his wife and asks us to go find her remains. Now, of course, I let Chatty in on all the information, and he decides that we should help. After running around in the sewers and seeing a few things that will scar me for life, we found Julian's wife, but oh no, she turns out to be a puppet. I let Chatty in on the info and he decides to actually lie to Julian. I guess it's just to put a smile on his face. Wow, Chatty, ain't you special? Our final hurdle is the fat clown, and this guy fights exactly what he looks like. So I do lose a few times, but I make sure to get my revenge by blowing up his buttocks with our mines. With all of those problems out of the way, we can now make it into the next and possibly best fight in the game, Puppet King Romeo. We got pretty lucky with Chatty basically sending us off to the fight with our best items and the use of the Spectre, but the fight against Puppet King Romeo is so difficult and complex that there was a mandatory level of get goodness. Quickly after, I started memorizing all of the hit patterns in phase 1, as it's the much simpler phase of the two. The second phase has plenty of hard attacks to read, like the sprint into the spin, the pull into the uppercut, and all of the delayed combos he has. But the main problem in phase 2 is when you get Romeo down to half HP, he has a 10-hit special combo attack. After dying a lot of times to it, I found that using the Booster Glaive's Fable art is able of stunning him out of it, so on my last fight with him, this is what happened.
Alright, stagger him out of it. Not bad. 2. This might be it. Heavy. Let's go! That's all we needed!
After going back to the hotel, I went back to level up. Chatty kept ignoring the health stat because advance is obviously better. We decide to lie to Antonia and tell her she's still hot, and also that's pretty weird to ask someone who looks like this. Polendina also gets the line treatment, and we get started making our way to Lorenzini's arcade. On the way there, I picked up the clock sword blade, which I unfortunately had to use for the following section. I made sure to pick up all of the important upgrade materials, sneak up behind D's nuts cracker to steal a quartz, then head to our next boss fight, the one true Natty. Our boy in blue Victor, as you can expect from a guy of his stature, has caused us quite a bit of problems, whether it was the kick, slap, slam, or bashing my head in. Our little puppet has seen better days. Combine this boss's abilities with the fact that we had to use our starting weapon and the worst amulets possible, thank you again by the way ChatGPT, made this fight really messy. So I did what every man in my position would do. I died over and over and over again for about an hour, until I got one run where I didn't pee my pants seeing this dude's physique. Unfortunately for Victor, after losing the fight to us, he gets swiftly penetrated from behind by Luxasia and the bad guy of the game, Manus. ChatGPT accurately tells Manus that he's been creating monsters just like I did by giving ChatGPT all this power. I let Chatty know of our new ability to respec, and for now he opts out of it, so at the hotel, we get a few more levels and then head into the next area. In the swamp area, I do my best to fight off my Dark Souls 3 PTSD, fight a bear like I'm Habib, and kill a puppet baby before making it to our next boss, Green Monster of the Swamp. So far, Chatty has been pretty okay with me, but for this fight, he kinda screwed me over. Going into the fight with the Swamp Monster, he did make a good call by allowing me to use the Booster Glaive, which was already upgraded for us, so that was some good news, but the amulets we had to use were the passive HP regen and stamina regen. So hey, at least we'll have more stamina regen to fight off against our heavy load, right? The fight against the Swamp Monster went about as well as you can expect. I had to get used to all of the attacks this hentai monster could present me with, whether it was flailing its arms, squirting puke all over me, or doing its best impression of Diglett. Then the second phase comes along and we get to meet our old and beloved Scrap Watchman, only this time he has two massive back tentacles that he can use, a bomb rush attack, and a fresh set of moon shoes. Even with the weight handicap, we still managed to get the kill by the skin of our teeth with a little bit of use of shot puts and thermite. After running past the killed puppet, we get back to the beginning of the game, only this time it's infested with carcasses and hungry children. I make sure to give them all the same treatment before making it to the next boss, the Walker of Illusions. But to be honest, the only illusion that happened here is it thinking it posed any sort of a challenge. So only after a few attempts, even with the use of our non-upgraded electric coil, the Walker goes down fairly easily. The Corrupted Parade Master, although a bit harder than the Walker of Illusions due to our limited health bar, also didn't pose much of a challenge. So other than the occasional one-shot that we encountered, we got through him surprisingly quickly. That leads us back to the hotel. Still looks cleaner than my room growing up. We stop by to speak to Antonia so she can teach us that playing a banking tune on the piano opens up a secret pathway to the bottom of the hotel. Chatty decides to make us fight the Black Rabbit Brotherhood with the electric coil, thinking we can taser them to death, which is not the most educated decision, but at least he allows us to use the Spectre for 4 fights. Our first 2 attempts go pretty good, with both of them ending after reaching the Big Brother, but since I knew the Spectre is going to be a massive help in this fight, I decided to make a quick stop at Giangio's shop. Then I went back into the fight. I first get rid of the youngest of the bunch as she's the most problematic, then make sure to use my Q before my Spectre is about to die. The Fire Bunny brother also goes down shortly after, leaving the eccentric and the eldest brother alone. My Spectre died before I was able to get rid of the eccentric one, but he goes down shortly after, leaving me and the eldest in a 1v1, but he has full HP and I have no potions left. So I did what any man would do in my position. I started throwing everything under the kitchen sink at him. Slowly I whittled his health down, even managing to get a backstab in there, but right as he was about to die, this happened.
Okay, just a little bit more.
Fuck! So in the next attempt, I made sure to enter the fight with even more throwables, and it went pretty much the same as my last one, only with this one my throwing arms had a little bit more ammo, so after chucking a few thermites at this ugly rabbit face, I managed to finally get the kill. After going back to the hotel to get a few more level ups, we meet Ali Broro again. So I asked ChatGPT on whether we should get revenge or forgive and forget what he has done. And without thinking twice, in a very disturbing manner, ChatGPT advises us to kill Alidoro, and out of fear of ChatGPT attacking me as well, I did as he wishes. We get our revenge and then take a submarine shark before making it to Gale's arena. Over here, we learn a little bit more about our past, Eugene, Romeo, but most importantly, we get some fat stats. Luckily, the fight against the Door Guardian is sort of a gimmick, since all you really have to do is hit him enough times for him to fall down, allowing you to deal half of his HP bar with one stagger. So being equipped with our starting weapon wasn't really that big of a problem, so after a few close attempts, we bully this Victor wannabe and take the Alchemist badge from him like it was his lunch money. On the path to Luxasia, I made sure to visit our World-Marked Riddler Arlecchino, and he decides to ask us the hardest question of all. Are we human or a puppet? Since ChatGPT couldn't really fathom the notion of being a human, he obviously chose the puppet option, which made Arlecchino very upset. Not enough not to hand over the quartz to us though. After a small detour due to the game's spaghetti code, murdering a cat because Chatty instructed me to do so, and setting a baby on fire, I finally made it to the boss that I feared the most in this run. Luxasia. I told Chatty that we need the best weapon that we have for this boss fight, and like the brilliant AI that he is, he allowed me to use the booster glaive, which at this point was our most upgraded weapon. Unfortunately though, his amulet choices left us with heavy load once again before the hardest boss in the game. As you can probably guess, I wasn't really pleased with that, but I never backed down from a challenge, so as terrified as I was, I knew I'll eventually get her. The first few attempts went about as good as you can expect, and the fact that I had only 5 pulse cells and dealt 250 damage due to Chatty's magnificent stat distribution really didn't do me any favor in this fight. But you know me, I got reacquainted with the first phase fairly quickly and I started reaching the second one more and more consistently. The problem with her second phase is she goes from insane to batshit crazy loco psychopath. Seriously, her second phase is so difficult and offbeat, it's like trying to dance salsa while rock is blasting in your ears. On one of my attempts, after reaching the second phase, I decided to try a new tactic using our Legion arm, and it went like this.
Nice, dude. I tried. Yes! 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 Throwables OP!
So yeah, I did kinda cheese her second phase with the throwables, but hey, just getting the parry on the dive should grant me the ability to do so without being counted as a chicken. Anyways, gliding our way to the doors after Laxasia, we open them up and see our girl Sophia sitting there with a depressed face wishing for her death, like me after having too much pasta. We're presented with the two following options: either let Sophia live or liberate her from her pain and allow her to move on. I present Chatty with the two options, and like the soft, caring, sympathetic idiot that he is, he decides to let Sophia live, thinking we'll find another way to save her. Now, you know me, I'm an obedient servant, so I did as Chatty instructed, but shortly after leaving her room, Gemini drops the bomb on us that Sophia is finally gone. With a broken heart, we run up to free our father Geppetto, but we meet the Red Fox for the final time. I quickly tase her ass with the electric coil and send her to hell to reunite with her douchey brother. Freeing Geppetto from his cell, he asks us the cringiest question ever, whether he was a good father or not. So I let Chatty know about Geppetto's question, and like the softie that he is, he decides to lie to Geppetto and say yes, so this old man can be happy for some reason. Anyway though, we take the key from Geppetto and start rushing to our man of the hour, Manus Carlsen, the petrification chess god. For the fight with Manus, Chatty allows me to use the booster glaive and the Spectre. On the first try, I was almost able to get him down, but unfortunately his giant body slam has like 8 frames to parry, so he crashed into me and stole my highlight. Sadly, in the following attempt, our Spectre suffered some cruel endings to his life, not even making it to the second phase, but I was quick to follow after him in defeat. Then, for the last attempt I could summon the Spectre in, we both decided to go Ultra Instinct on Manus' ass. We managed to corner him on the first phase, which allowed me and the Spectre to quickly get past it, with the Spectre having more than half HP. Then while I was trying to bait Manus into my mind, he decided to try to fight Manus solo and got his ass whooped. So once again, I had to resort to the manliest strat there is, and it went like this.
Oh shit. Hype him. Hype him. Shot put. Oh my god, heavy. Oh my god, finish him with a stagger. Let's go. Yes. I love the throwables in this game, dude. I love the throwables in this game. They're so much fun to use.
With Manus defeated, Chatty decides to tell him the truth that Sophia lived, so after Manus warns us from our father Geppetto, it was time for Chatty to make the most difficult and important decision in this playthrough. Geppetto reveals to us that his plan all along was to use us to bring his son Carlo back to life. So as we stand near our father, he demands that we give him our heart back. I tell Chatty about Geppetto's nefarious plans, and like the true Giga Chat that he is, he instructs us to fight to save ourselves and put his old ass down. Chatty was on an absolute roll here. He instructed me to use the electric coil for this fight, which was probably our best weapon to use in this situation. The fight against the nameless puppet is just an absolute masterpiece. Fighting the vessel that is supposed to hold your heart with Geppetto ruling over its body is just incredible. The first phase has very clear and telegraphed attacks, but with the massive variety and really subtle details, every parry feels so goddamn satisfying to land. Then by the time you get done with this first phase and cut off the puppet strings, it decides to go full Bloodborne Lady Maria on your ass and constantly switch up from his scissors weapon to the Sellsword Twin Blade from Dark Souls 3, only with a much cooler moveset. Going through this fight was my favorite part of the challenge. There's just so much depth and thought put behind it that it really emphasizes the weight of this battle, a fight between two puppets on who gets to become human. I kept getting my ass beat in this fight for almost 2 hours straight, But out of spite to Geppetto, I knew I couldn't give up. So after over 70 tries, I decided to put an end to this battle with 1 HP and a dream.
Okay. We're getting him. We got him, chat. We got him! We got him!
Oh no, Geppetto's dead!
Smash it. Yeah! Yeah! We answered the question. Can AI replace humanity? Not yet. Will it? Most likely. But it's not that great at Lies of P. Subscribe. Thank you. Bye.